here and hope that people would pay her, but she could dream. "All right, Mr. Ryan said you might be here. I'm Heath Hazeltine, new pilot." He was staring oddly at her, and for a second she wondered if she might have grease on her face, like she often did while working here. But then he said with a shake of his head, "I was expecting something different." "I come in on the weekends, wipe down planes and other odd jobs," she said, for some reason feeling like she had to explain, then added, "I'm learning to fly." That was a stretch too, but she did always listen to the pilots talk, watch how they got the propellers spinning, and closely observe the takeoffs and landings. She knew which part of the runway was more rutted with potholes and which angle was best for approach. He cocked his head slightly. "That's so. It is." One side of his mouth turned up, just a hint. "I didn't know women could fly airplanes, let alone teenage girls." Livy felt her whole face go red. "I'll be 17 in 4 months, and I'll bet I'll know more about airplanes and weather than you do, especially down here in San Diego." All she really knew about him was that he'd come from Los Angeles and had flown in Hollywood some, doing stunts. No one had mentioned anything about him being so young. She had been picturing some old guy with a sun-beaten face and graying hair. "Feisty. I like it," he said. She stood on her tippy toes and straightened up, all 5 feet 3 inches, though her thick curls tucked under the hat added some extra height. "Take me up and I'll teach you a thing or two." He laughed. "What can you teach me?" When he smiled, his whole face changed, making him seem even younger and a little less arrogant and painfully handsome. Livy felt a swoosh in her stomach and her cheeks tingled. He couldn't have been much older than 20, and yet there was a certain worldliness about him. She found herself wanting to impress him. "Like I said, I know everything there is to know about this area. What have you got to lose?" she said. He looked at his watch. "My new job, for one. And I have another tour in 20 minutes, so even if I wanted to, I couldn't. Want to help me patch that big pothole in the runway?" None of the other pilots ever offered to fill the potholes. They always figured someone else would do it. The mud stuck to everything and gave off a rank odor, and a lot of them saw it as beneath them. "How about I go fill those holes for you, and you take me up after your tour?" she said. She thought he was going to refuse her, like Mr. Ryan always did, but instead he nodded and said, "You're on." Disbelief flooded through her. "Really?" "Really. Now get out of there before my next customer arrives." But the passengers never showed up, most likely on account of the weather, and the books were empty after that. Heath helped Livy up onto the wing with a big, rough hand and a rock-solid arm. He moved like a man who was extremely comfortable in his own skin, as though the world rotated on his time. Livy decided that he was the perfect man for the job. You wanted your first time up to be memorable, but also to be survivable. Confidence was an asset. "Sure you want to do this? Those clouds look formidable," he said. Livy had noticed the band of charcoal clouds at sea, heralding the foul weather moving up from Mexico. A sudden chill came over her, and she tried to blot out the memory that always accompanied storms blowing in. The dark thing that would always be with her, always haunt the recesses of her mind. Blinding salt spray, cold waves smashing over the bow and washing everything from the deck, the sound of her name being stolen by the whipping wind. "Olivia!" The last moments of his chafed hand holding on to hers. Her heart began to squeeze in on itself, but she willed the thoughts away. This storm was likely to be a bad one, but hell if she was going to blow her only chance to fly. Timed right, they'd be able to outrun it. "Positive. From the looks of it, we have about 37 minutes before that front hits here. Just head north along the coast, and we should be back in time." She climbed into her seat, and he leaned in and tightened the belt on her waist. 37, huh? Not 36? He said, close enough that she caught a whiff of mint and salt water. When he pulled away, their eyes met, chocolate brown with flecks of fire. Her first instinct was to look away, but instead, she held his gaze. "Nope, 37. Let's go. We're wasting time," she said. "Oh, and you'll probably want to come in from the east on your approach. The wind will swing around coming in off the ocean when it moves in." When he stepped back, he almost fell off the wing.